An exchange with a parental narcissist. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Narcissism is pervasive. It's commonly, of course, found in the romantic relationship, as that is often seen as the place where it causes the most damage to an individual. They fall in love with someone, look to build a relationship, perhaps have children together, obtain a home, invest time, money, and, of course, their emotions in that other person, who only then throws it all to the ground, stamps upon it, and walks away, leaving that person with shattered dreams, shattered nerves, and shattered hopes. Of course, narcissism does not just appear within the relationship that is romantic. It appears in society. It appears in social engagements and relationships, at work, with a neighbour, with a supplier or a client, with a tradesman undertaking work for you, and, of course, in a familial environment. Indeed, whilst there are many that would say that the damage caused in a romantic relationship is the harshest, those who have been the victim of a parental narcissist will invariably disagree. Whilst one can ultimately impose no contact with regard to a romantic narcissist, the child, when still of minority, was not in a position to impose that no-contact regime. Indeed, they had no idea what they were dealing with and were essentially trapped for anywhere around 16 to 21 years, perhaps even longer, unable to find anywhere to live, finances either non-existent or controlled, in younger years entirely reliant upon that individual who was meant to be there to clothe, feed, keep them warm, soothe that individual, teach them, and of course keep them safe, and failed in one or more ways. Even thereafter, should the child of a narcissist once become an adult, flee the home, or move away at least, the reach and influence of that parental narcissist continues. And there will be many who are adult children of narcissists who will attest to the damage that it has caused upon them, the impact upon their own self-esteem, their ability to form successful relationships, and of course the imprinting that is part of the double dose of the addiction, which is a particular affliction for those who are adult children of narcissists. This results in them chasing the storm of narcissism in their majority years because it feels like home from when they were a child. There are those, of course, that say that whilst it is tragic and sad that a relationship of a romantic nature comes to a demise, you can at least walk away from it and do so thinking that's the end of the relationship and move on. For many adult children of narcissists, they find severing the relationship with the parental narcissist particularly difficult, driven by sensations of guilt, obligation, and quite simply, well, I can't. He is my father. She is my mother. Of course, I have established a material, namely, how to handle a parental narcissist, the way to go about that. But nevertheless, whilst there are some people that have successfully severed those relations, there are many that find it very difficult to do so. Here, I'm going to provide you with an example of some hoovering by a parental narcissist interacting with her son. The mother sends text messages to the son, and he replies. And this is an actual interaction that occurred. I'm going to break it down for you, explaining the various dynamics, manipulations that are at play, to give you further understanding about the nature of a parental narcissist and their impact upon the victim. We start with a text from the son who states, "Getting the house ready for our trip next week. Good to do a lot of cleanup." A simple, innocuous message enough. This is sent to his mother. He's just explaining what he's doing. Of course, this brings him on the radar of his mother, and as she is a narcissist, her unconscious narcissism then asks, is this individual under control? The fact is, although the content of the messages demonstrates that he's under control because he's not asking questions, he's not making any attack on accountability, there's no criticism, it's clear, as you'll hear from the next message, that there is a lingering problem. And no matter the fact that he has come along in a pleasant way, he's already painted black by the narcissist because of a perceived failing on his part. The mother writes, "I ask kindly for your flight information. It leaves me feeling like I'm last on your list when I ask nicely for things, and I'm completely ignored. So enjoy your dads and don't worry about me. You don't anyway." It's evident that the parents are no longer together, and it would seem perhaps that father has had a lucky escape. And the reference to dads, I think she means your dad's home or wherever that the son is going to. That backdrop, of course, is problematic. The son is going to go and visit, and therefore he's visiting his father, which naturally wounds the narcissist. A healthy person would understand that you have a relationship with your father also, you're going to go and visit him. But in the mind of the narcissist, that isn't allowed. It threatens a sense of control because that individual is doing something in relation to somebody else and not this parental, maternal narcissist. She's previously asked for flight information, and the failure to provide this also wounds. So there is the issue of the son going on a trip to see his father, wound number 1, and the failure to provide the flight information, wound number 2. Those things threaten control and have been resurrected by the son coming up on the radar by his text message to his mother. Rather than say, "Oh, that's good, darling, and hope you have a safe trip," it's all about her, with the immediate assertion of control stating, "I ask kindly for your flight information." Aggressive assertion of control, but also maintaining a veneer by saying, "I ask kindly." That self-perception of, "I'm a decent person," so common with particular narcissists. "It leaves me feeling like I'm last on your list," pity play, "when I ask nicely for things," veneer, "and I'm completely ignored," likely to be a revision of history. "So enjoy your dads and don't worry about me. You don't anyway." Backhanded compliment, pity play. Thus the narcissist seeks to assert control. The response from the son, "Thanks for the reminder. You know how crazy things can get when you're trying to get everything ready for a trip. I've sent it to you. Sorry for the delay in that." So he now sends the late information and offers an apology. He's providing some fuel. The fuel is in writing, so it's not particularly extensive, but it seems that he's under control. But it appears that the parental narcissist has other ideas. "I've been up with your grandpa all night throwing up." Demonstrates martyrdom, fake empathy, and it's also triangulation of the son with the grandfather's condition. "But I still remember I have other family members, holier than thou. You need to do the same," prescriptive behaviour, "if you expect your family to do the same for you. It's not fair because my plate is way fuller than yours." Pity play. Again, there's an assertion of control. The son's response, "I'm sorry your plate is so full. I understand that all of us have different things going on in life, and we can't judge each other's plates." So he's responding in a reasonable way, but also explaining that because everybody's busy, one doesn't necessarily know what somebody else has going on in their life, i.e. on that particular plate. "I haven't sent flight information to any family members yet. You are not being targeted or excluded." He's explaining the evidence. "I'm not responsible for your feelings about the weight you have to carry, and I don't appreciate you lashing out at me for things out of my control." He offers a fair explanation, and of course does so, his truth-seeker trait, prominent by explaining what's going on, putting it in context and going to the evidence. Of course, his response is challenge fuel, because he's basically saying, "I don't have responsibility for the way that you feel." In her world, he should have, and he doesn't appreciate her behaviour, and he describes her as lashing out at him. That, of course, all amounts to a threat to control. The narcissist responds thus, I'm not lashing out for what's not under your control. Denial. I'm lashing out because I ask so little of you, and you seem so unwilling or incapable of giving it. Provocation. Insult. Since I had no idea if you were already on a plane, I was a bit peeved because you know my feeling on accidents in air travel. Exaggeration. Pity play. You know this is a sensitive topic for your mum, and you had to be reminded. You're a grown adult, although she's not treating him like one, who needs to have some responsibility to all of your family, and I have the right to let you know when you aren't holding up your end. Sense of entitlement, arrogance, haughtiness, and when I am having to treat a grown man like a child in reminding him. Sorry for judging the simplicity of your plate, but I've been in your shoes. Arrogance, condescending, when it was just me and your father, and when it was just me and you, but you have never walked in my shoes. So, this is the, oh, I know all about you, but you don't know me. Because she's so special, so different. I am responsible for the medical well-being of 3 sick individuals. Look at me, aren't I important? Triangulation. Grandiosity. So until you've walked in my shoes, you will never understand the strain of that weight. I understand that this is my cross to bear. It's why I don't ask for help, martyrdom. So to ask you to simplify one thing for me doesn't seem too much to ask, guilt. The son responds, here's the thing. I messed up on this, I admit. Contrition. But the problem is that every time there's a slight against you, real or imagined, you always come at me. You always attack me for ignoring or excluding you. I forget to do something, you're ignoring me. I don't hear the one text you send me, you're ignoring me. I have a group get-together without you, you're ignoring me. Notice that the son identifies a pattern of behaviour. And there's no forgiveness or apology afterwards. The best I usually get is an explanation of all the stuff that you've got going on. Absence of contrition identified, and self-absorbed behaviour identified. Even now, he writes, it wasn't, did you send the flight information, or when was your flight again? It was straight into how I'm ignoring you. The son, of course, is well versed in this behaviour. He might not know precisely what it is, but he recognises it and is able to identify the constituent parts. It was straight into how I'm ignoring you and how I'm not treating the family fair. What if I had sent it to the wrong email? What if the email had got stalled? Of course, he's wasting his time with such explanations, expecting her to respond to it reasonably. As it stands now, I feel like every time I see you on my phone, I don't know if it's going to be nice or an explosion. Those shifting sands, the treading on eggshells that is so familiar to the victim. That's not a healthy feeling in a relationship. I'm going to step away from our relationship for a while. Sensible move. If there's an emergency, please call me, but for anything else, I'm probably not showing up for anything anytime soon. So he's imposing a near-total no-contact response. Of course, this explanation, fair and reasonable as it is, amounts again to challenge fuel, and the narcissist has to respond. When you decide you need a family again, instead of allowing toxicity to push you away from everything you know, I'll be here. Labelling, provocation, insult, but martyrdom. All I asked for was a little understanding because you haven't been there for this family for a while now. Probably a false accusation, probably a revision of history, and of course a pity play. The son doesn't respond. He already explained what he was going to do, and he sticks by it. That will, of course, wounded the parental narcissist. In some instances, that failure to respond would have prompted further text, but in this instance, it might be because the narcissist was distracted, but more than likely she responded by staying in a position of withdrawal and didn't contact him either, her narcissism allowing her to do that as part of that unconscious assertion of control. Now, the individual concerned, I have seen other material which I don't need to direct you to, which confirms that she's a narcissist, but I wanted to utilise this exchange, which is an excellent example of certain behaviours of a parental narcissist using guilt, triangulation, backhanded compliment, pity play, martyrdom, in order to keep asserting control over the son, but also how the son recognises that these behaviours are unhealthy, that he's seen them many times, and therefore he's doing to do the right thing by stepping back. I suspect he doesn't know about narcissism and doesn't realise that his mother is one, but he does recognise that her behaviours are repeated, unpleasant, unhealthy, and not something that he needs to tolerate. In the comments section, based upon this snapshot, which school of narcissist do you think that the son is dealing with? There are suitable clues that would give a strong indication, although may not be determinative, as we would need more evidence to do that. But what subschool do you think the mother narcissist is in this example? I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.